Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we'll talk to a happiness expert, and he's going to teach us all how to rediscover our inner child. That's next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show. Well, I have to admit, there are days I wake up and I'm not in my joy, and I want to be in my joy. I'm a natural smiler. If you looked at my driver's license, you would see this silly grin on my face. I don't even think they're allowed to let you photograph yourself with a big smile anymore. But a guy who knows something about joy, and he has an amazing journey, is with me next. Loka Pandya. He's with Pandya Hospitality, and my new best friend.
Yeah.
So, okay. Have you always been this joyous?
You know, for most of my life, I've been a pretty happy person.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of energy, actually. But as everyone has their own trials and tribulations, I've kind of gone through those as well. But I've just always tried to have fun in my life.
And the family business is hospitality.
Yes.
Your parents immigrated from India in 81.
Yeah. In 1981, they actually purchased it. Oh, you know what? I take that back. It was actually 1979.
Okay.
1981 is when they first bought their first property, their hotel,
Cool.
in a little city called Gainesville, Texas, which is right north of Texas.
And
Yeah.
as a little kid, do you remember working in the hotel business?
Yeah, absolutely. I was cleaning rooms at the age of 4 or 5, just helping out, right? Checking in guests at the age of 7 or 8.
Yes.
Yeah.
And okay, as a kid, do you remember your happiness level as a kid?
Yeah. I mean, children are children, right? We're running around, getting dirty, jumping in the pools we shouldn't be jumping into. So absolutely. Yeah. Riding our bikes. It was so fun.
Yes. And like any great Hollywood movie, there's always ups and downs. And,
Yeah.
and you had a tragedy happen to you.
Yeah. So when I was 13 years old, I unfortunately lost my mom to suicide. It was one of the, and I can't say it's the best, worst thing that's ever happened to me. Worse because I lost a mother to suicide. But that time as a child, I was very driven and very focused on succeeding. And there was a time I wouldn't even help my own best friend on his homework because he was competition. After she had passed, it made me realize as a 13-year-old, there's things that are much bigger than that. And so that course corrected my entire life and saying success isn't the only thing. It's going out there and being out there for people and helping people and serving people.
Well, you and I were talking right before the show, and you said for many years I was a sad clown.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you know, I didn't realize I always focused on the event at 13, but from 6 to 13, I was always trying to cheer my mother up. You know, dance, make her laugh, have a good time, listen to a little, we had a record player, so I throw that on there and try to cheer her up. Well, after she was gone, I want to kind of do that for the world, but it came from a place of, now this is what my self-worth is, right? Unless I'm entertaining or making people happy, I'm not whole. And the self-love component there and the self-worth component wasn't there. And so I didn't realize that until much later in my life, and that's when I started my healing journey.
Okay, tell us about healing.
So it's been a fun 25-year journey. After my mother passed, there was a psychiatrist that said, there's a 96% chance that I may be headed down the same path. And so my family forced me into meditation. And I wasn't no 13-year-old wants to be meditating. But it was one of the best things that's ever happened to me. And so at 13, I started meditating. You know, I was a high schooler that woke up at 4:30 in the morning meditating. At the age of 20, I did a 10-day science and meditation camp. And so slowly but surely, I was going deeper and deeper within myself to kind of heal and seeing where everything was for it to start to come out.
Was it a gradual process, kind of getting back to the childlike joy that you had?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, because it's something we don't think about. We absolutely don't think about it. We just kind of go through life, and I was meditating, and I thought, okay, let me get to peace, let me get to harmony as things start to come up. But I realized that that's a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And so like a lot of the retreats I went to, you got the peace, you got the harmony, but there's a lot of seriousness to it. And so I like to be joyful. I want to create. I want to have fun. And I was just so lucky to have sisters that have kids. And it's just so fun to be an uncle. So I started seeing my nieces and nephews start interacting. And one thing I started seeing mostly is that they just want to play all the time, like all the time.
Yes.
And I tell people all the time, I'm like, okay, when children go to sleep, what's the first thing they want to do when they wake up? Play. All right. When they go to school, what do they look forward to? Recess. When they get home, they want to play. Why don't they want to go to sleep? Play. Everything's about play. And I start looking within myself, what am I playing? You know, like I'm stressing about the past, the future, work, you know, when was I actually playing? And so I just started playing every day. And that's why I started to find more of my inner child joy.
We've got a clip of you with like a bubble gun. Or, I don't even, what do they call that?
Yeah, it's a bubble gun. Yeah. So I keep these on me at all times. I kind of rediscovered these probably like 3 months ago at a wedding, and they're bubbles, right? You're just,
Well, and that's how like you and I first met at a conference. Shout out to Dr. Fab. And he's the life of the party. He's just, everybody's laughing. He's the guy saying, woo, woo, Dr. Fab. So I was instantly attracted to him. And we had a chance to talk a little bit in Phoenix, but I wanted to have you on the show because I think so many people, I'll call it kind of the Walking Dead, because they're walking through life. They may be suffering through anxiety and depression, and obviously the pandemic plays a role in that. But you've managed to harness something. When would you say that you kind of fully arrived in this state of joy that you're in now?
You know, I think it's always an ongoing process. Yeah. Absolutely. We're always working on ourselves. And so I would say this level of joy and true happiness was only just 6 months ago.
Really?
Yeah. It was the straw that broke the camel's back. It was the culmination point, like the 25 years of just working on myself kind of came to a head in, say, 2019, where I was always up and down. Right? And life is a little bit of a roller coaster. I say it's like a stock ticker. You never see a company that even the best companies don't go here. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. It's all about how quickly you get back to it. In 2019, up until that point, I was so up and down. So I threw the kitchen sink at healing.
Wow.
Meditation, energy healing, therapy, like anything, anyone. I just reached out to everyone and says, hey, what worked for you? What worked for you? What worked for you? And I started to go upon that journey. Many more things started to come out.
Well, another thing that gives you joy is cool cars.
Yes.
So let's talk about these cars that you have.
Yes. So I currently own 3 different DeLoreans, and one of them is actually built out like the time machine.
Oh my!
From start to finish. And then another one is the 1989 Batmobile. I just love Batman. And so,
me too. I wanted to be Batman.
Yeah,
I wanted that 1966 Batmobile.
Yeah.
So, but I love your car. That's amazing.
Yeah. The joy machines, I call them. Like I see people just get so excited. Someone saw the time machine. It was a 9-year-old just a few weeks ago, and he's like, "This is the greatest experience of my life."
Wow.
Another 31-year-old guy came off the street taking a look at us with his girlfriend. He's like, "Man, I've gone through so many things in the last 10 years." He's like, "This has literally made my life."
Wow.
And I'm like, "Wow!" Like those are big comments there, right? And just having that joy. So,
and you're off on another adventure. Let's talk about glamping.
Yes. yes. So I've been in hotels. I mean, I was basically born into a motel. I acquired my own properties with my brother about 15 years ago and been hospitality. And so I've been going down that journey, but then something hit during the pandemic. And I was like, oh, there's a need for RV parks out there. So it's like, let me hop in an RV and try to figure this whole world out. Mm-hmm. What ended up happening is my RV wasn't ready, and I was in Durango, Colorado, so I couldn't find a place to stay. And so I was looking, there's nothing there. I get on Airbnb and I find what I call the cream of the crop, right? Like it's the rest of what's left out there. But I found this little teepee out there in someone's backyard with a porta potty. It's like $150 a night, which I thought was kind of crazy for like a teepee. But I go in this thing, right? They've got like a Yeti cooler. They've got a heated mattress. I'm like, what is this sorcery over here? And then the guy was like, the sorcery is glamping. And glamping stands for glamorous camping. And so then I was introduced to that, and I was like, okay, well, maybe we'll throw some of these units. We have a property in Marfa, Texas, to put it out there. But I love to hike and bike. And I've talked to people out there about hiking and biking. I started to realize that people feel more grounded in nature, right? They find joyous in nature. And I was like, well, what if we could actually build these glamping properties out in nature where people could find their inner child joy? What a great canvas, basically. And so now I've been on this journey on how do I inspire inner child joy within people where they have a place to actually go and experience it.
Wow. So I think you use the expression wellness resort, and I love that. I mean, there's not really a word for what you're creating because it doesn't really exist right now, does it?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Even my branding guy is like, okay, let's find some comparative properties. What's going on? I was like, you either have the wellness component, which is the meditation, the yogic breathing, the peace, harmony, balance, or you have like Six Flags, right? Or
Right.
Disney, which are amazing.
Right.
And our whole idea is how do you bring those two together? How do you get into that balance? Because you need to be in that peaceful state to experience that joy, but also honor your feelings, right? I always tell people anger and excitement are cut from the same energy,
Yes.
right? They're just explosive. Just express anger in a healthy way and don't feel guilty about it, right? Right after, anytime anyone cries, they don't usually feel bad. They feel a catharsis. They feel calm. Right on the other side of a good cry is joy.
Yes.
And so we're going to be teaching that at this wellness resort.
Well, I hope you take this as a compliment because I mean it as a compliment. You remind me of Patch Adams, that great film with Robin Williams, in which he used laughter as the best medicine.
Yeah. absolutely.
As we kind of close this segment, I want you to share, like, what are some actionable things people can do right now to get them back to that inner joy?
Oh, absolutely. Great question. So one of the things I do is I take 3 5-minute dance breaks a day. So whether I was at the office, right, or I'll be dancing in the parking lot, just to break up the day, because that's where my joy comes from. So I tell people, what is something that you just love doing? Someone's like, I love riding the bike. Take your bike to work. Ride for 5 or 10 minutes. Break up that day, right? Do something joyous absolutely every single day. There's going to be some days you're not feeling it. I use affirmations all the time. And so sometimes I just don't want to get out of bed and I say I'm the happiest guy, I have the happiest life. But I put enthusiasm by it. So I'm like waking up in the morning, I'm like, I'm the happiest guy, I have the happiest life. I'm the happiest guy, I'm the happiest guy, I got the happiest life. I'm the happiest guy, I got the happiest life. And it just starts to take you over. It absolutely does. And the other thing I do all the time is like I'll tell myself dad jokes, right, in the mirror, or I'll just laugh, right? Sometimes I'll just laugh out of nowhere, like for no reason. I'm like, oh, what? And then I'm like, and he's like, oh my gosh. And if you just start laughing, it changes your state altogether.
Wow.
And so just being intentional about your joy every single day, if for a second, for 30 seconds, a minute. I go to Urban Air Adventure Park. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's like a place where you jump around, right? And kids are there all the time. I've got the platinum subscription. It's $12 a month, And that's my workout. And I'll go out there, I'll jump, I'll dance. They have a little ropes course. They have this thing where you can fly around.
Wow.
But it's just being that child. So what are the things that anyone that's watching at home is like, hey, what brings me joy? I know someone that plays golf. I said, put a putting green right there. Take a 30-minute break. Go to the driving range. Just bring that joy into your life every single day. Okay. Every single day.
You are amazing. We're going to have you back. How can people get in touch with you? They go to your Instagram or your website?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Pandya Party. It's PANDYA or you know what? Email me. Yeah. Just email me. I'd be loved at loka.pandya@gmail.com. That's LOKA.PANDYA@gmail.com. And I'd love to connect.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's leave them with some bubbles.
Yeah,
you still got yours?
Yeah, absolutely. I always have. What's funny is they try to catch them too, right? Like you try to grab them, it becomes a game.
A cat would go crazy in here right now. All right, that's it for now. We'll see you next time.